At the beginning of the movie, shown a mafia boss named Sonny Ekval. At that time, Sonny and some of his men were visiting a prospective member who said he wanted to join Sonny's group. This prospective member named Sasha Petrosevich, who was an acquaintance of one of Sonny's right-hand men named Nicholas or Nick Frazier. It is known that Nick and Sasha have been friends for about 2 years, and Nick believes that Sasha is the right person to join this group. But before that, Sonny as the boss will ask Sasha a few things. Sonny has even prepared a lie detector tool, which if Sasha gets caught lying, then Sonny will not hesitate to kill Sasha. Then Sonny asked who Sasha worked with, before Sasha decided to join his group. Sasha also said that he used to be a special forces who had worked as the CIA and KGB. He even admitted to working in German intelligence. Sonny again asked if Sasha was a spy of the FBI, because the FBI had been targeting Sonny's group for a long time. Sasha said that he had indeed worked with the FBI, but not for now. Seen in the lie detector tool, everything Sasha said did not show that Sasha was lying at all. Even when Sonny pointed a knife while asking again, was Sasha a spy of the FBI? Sasha could calmly say no, and the device showed Sasha wasn't lying. After being asked various questions, Sasha was finally accepted and is now officially part of Sonny's group. Somehow, Sasha was able to escape the lie detector tool, even though the fact is that Sasha's still a spy of FBI who wants to take down Sonny's group from the inside. Then Sonny told Nick and Sasha to immediately go to his illegal stuff factory to prepare for delivery. Arriving there, Nick immediately told his men to prepare the delivery right now, because the illegal stuff must reach Russia tomorrow morning. Shortly thereafter, the head of the FBI, named Agent Ellen William, appeared with her troops. Here Agent William asks Nick to surrender, and she promises not to imprison Nick if Nicholas wants to be a witness to all of Sonny's crimes. But unfortunately, Nick refused, because it had only been 1 month since he was appointed by Sonny to be his right hand. Sasha himself advised Nick that they should just give up, rather than later many people would die. But Nick still insisted on fighting back, until there was a shootout between Agent Williams' troops and Nick and his men who were there. On one occasion, Agent William was to finish Nick, but Sasha quickly helped Nick because according to Sasha, the FBI would still need Nick. After the incident, Nick was finally arrested. Meanwhile, Sasha was critically injured after being shot during a shootout by Agent William. It was revealed that it was Agent William who had told and given instructions Sasha to join Sonny's Mafia group. Long story short, 8 months later, Sasha has now recovered and is now sent to a prison called Alcatraz. This Alcatraz prison is a prison located on an exile island in the middle of the sea. There Sasha met Nick, who had just been transferred to Alcatraz prison as well. It is known that Sasha was sent by the FBI to the prison to reapproach Nick, so that Nick would be a witness to all the crimes of Sonny. On the other hand, we will be introduced to a city official, Federal Bureau of Prisons head named Frank Hubbard. The official will hold a press conference to discuss about Alcatraz prison. It turns out that Alcatraz prison was closed in 1962 by the president. This happened because the place and facilities were not adequate and humane. But now the prison has been reopened. Frank, who is a representative of the government, said that the current Alcatraz prison will have a sophisticated system and will not be the same as before. Back to Sasha and the inmates, who will then be put into their respective cells. But before that, all inmates will be checked first using a metal detector. When it was Sasha's turn to walk in, the metal detector suddenly ringing. Suddenly, a warden immediately detained Sasha and asked if Sasha was carrying metal objects. Sasha said that he did not bring anything. But the warden didn't believe him and immediately electric shocked Sasha. That made Sasha attack him back. Then when Sasha was to be electric shocked again, Nick, who did not accept his best friend being treated like that, immediately attacked the officer. Not long after, a chief warden named Juan Ruiz El Fuego Escarzaga arrived. The chief warden immediately stopped them. Here the chief warden kindly came to Sasha and examined Sasha. It turned out that what made the metal detector sound was because Sasha had broken a bone in his leg, and his leg was once fitted with a metal. The next day, the chief warden gathered the inmates because he would give a little speech. The chief warden said that he was not cruel to the inmates as long as the inmates were submissive and obedient, then he would be like family. But on the contrary, if there are prisoners who dare to resist, then the chief warden will not hesitate to torture them to death. Then the chief warden also explained that the prisoners would be hired to clean up Alcatraz prison, such as digging the soil and floor, cleaning the garden, and so on, because everyone knows that this prison has just reopened after decades of closure. Shortly after that, Alcatraz prison had an old man named Lester McKenna. It turns out that the old man is a first-person death row inmate who will be executed in this prison. It is known that the old man was caught in a case of robbery of gold bars, worth hundreds of millions of dollars, belonging to a corrupt official. Until now, the old man is still hiding the gold bar, and no one knows about it, except the old man himself. Actually, he was persuaded by Judge J. McPherson to tell him where the gold was, and the government would cancel his execution. But apparently old man still chose to remain silent, even though he had to be sentenced to death. A few hours after that, the chief warden was visited by Frank and the Supreme Court Justice named Jane McPherson. Long story short, it was revealed that the chief warden, Frank, and Judge Jane deliberately reopened the Alcatraz prison, namely to look for gold bars hidden by the old man. Because according to some information circulating, if the old man hid his gold in Alcatraz prison when this prison was still empty. Of course, if they get the gold, they will automatically become very rich people. That was also the reason the chief warden told the prisoners to dig up the soil and floor in Alcatraz prison. In the evening, several people were seen jumping from an airplane to infiltrate Alcatraz prison. After descending, they immediately taking down the guards upstairs. It is known that this group of intruders is led by an ex-cop named Donnie Johnson, nicknamed 49er1, and his deputy named 49er6. Meanwhile, in the basement, Old Man was seen talking to Sasha. Before the Old Man was executed, it turned out that the Old Man and Sasha were once a team when they were both still special forces. While the two of them were brought together because the Old Man had previously begged to meet with Sasha as his last request. Behind that, the meeting was secretly witnessed and heard directly by Judge Jane. Not long after, the chief warden was approached by an officer who informed him that the conversation between the Old Man and Sasha suddenly could not be heard. This was because the entire prison system had crashed. The chief warden said that the prison system error was probably due to bad weather. But the truth was that Johnson's group was sabotaging the prison system. Then Johnson's troops went inside and killed the officers there. Here Nick smiled because he thought that Johnson's troops must have been sent by Sonny, his boss, to take Nick away. Back to the Old Man, who had now changed his clothes and met Judge Jane. Here Judge Jane asks where he has hidden the gold. If he tells her, Judge Jane promises to cancel his execution right now. However, Old Man refused because he realized that if he told her, he would still be executed. Those in the basement haven't realized that Johnson's troops are attacking from above. Meanwhile, Sasha is seen being taken back into his cell above by a warden. But on the way, Sasha and the officer accidentally crossed paths with Johnson's troops. At once, the intruders' troops opened fire on the two of them. Luckily, Sasha still survived because the shot had only hit his arm, and Johnson's troops did not realize this. In the execution room, the chief warden asked Old Man one last time where the gold was hidden. He said thank you because he had been given a nice suit. At the same time, Johnson's group arrived until they took control of the execution room. On the other hand, the inmates who were afraid that they would become victims of Johnson's cruelty, they were seen trying to escape from prison. However, Nick seems very relaxed because he believes the intruders will return to save him. Johnson, who was now in the execution chamber, received news from his men on guard in the helicopter that there was a storm outside. Soon the helicopter swerved and fell and hit the roof of the prison. Johnson therefore assigned the 49er6 and some of his men to go back upstairs and stand guard there. After that, Johnson tried to interrogate the Old Man about where the Old Man hid the gold. It turned out that the purpose of Johnson's group came to the prison, none other than because they also wanted the gold. But because the old man still didn't want to open his mouth, it certainly made Johnson upset. Then Johnson immediately shot a priest who happened to be presented there by Judge Jane. This made the old man feel guilty, because he chose to remain silent so that a priest had to die. On the other hand, the FBI has just received a report from the Coast Guard that a helicopter has crashed right above Alcatraz prison. Agent William is a little worried because there is one of her members who is undercover, namely Sasha. The scene moves to Sasha, who is now eliminating a union of Johnson's men who are guarding the upper room. After leveling them, Sasha returns down the room until he and the 49er 6 are pointing guns at each other. Then they fight each other, and we see 49er 6 hanging down. Until on one occasion, 49er 6 was able to be cornered by Nick at gunpoint from behind. Here Nick seems to have realized that 49er 6, Johnson, and his members are not Sonny's men who want to save Nick. Then Nicholas told 49er 6 to put down her weapon, but suddenly there was a fight between 49er 6 and Nick. During the fist fight, Sasha arrived, which made the 49er 6 immediately rush to escape. The scene moves to the FBI troops. Agent William tried to contact Alcatraz prison, but apparently the call was connected to Johnson, because all prison access has been down by Johnson. Here Johnson immediately threatens that if the FBI troops dare to come, then Johnson will not hesitate to kill hostages, including the prisoners. Agent William finally found out that Alcatraz prison had been controlled by bad people, and the prisoners were about to break into the weapons room using an RPG launcher belonging to Johnson's men who had previously fallen. After blowing it up, they quickly entered and took the weapons. Meanwhile, Johnson now tied Judge Jane to the execution chair. He then contacted the FBI again and asked them to send a helicopter immediately. If the FBI refused, then he would not hesitate to execute Judge Jane off right now. Shortly after that came the 49er 6, who immediately reported that upstairs there was a prisoner who was very good at fighting. From his abilities like special forces, even her men on guard upstairs had been eliminated by the prisoner. Hearing this, Johnson immediately asked the chief warden if there were any special forces punished in this prison. The chief warden replied that he didn't know. But at the same time, Judge Jane's bodyguards suddenly tried to fight back by taking 2 of Johnson's men hostage. Johnson casually shot the 2 of his men. Then his men immediately taken down Judge Jane's bodyguards, because it turned out that Johnson's men were already wearing bulletproof vests, and the ones just now were just pretending. Then Johnson approached Frank. It was Frank who had told Johnson's group about the gold bars. Shortly after that, the execution room was attacked by Sasha and the prisoners using smoke grenades. Here, Old Man was saved. Meanwhile, Judge Jane, who was still sitting in the execution chair, made it difficult for Sasha to release her, and Sasha was forced to leave Judge Jane. After that, Sasha and Nick try to secure the Old Man to a safe room. But here Nick questions what really happened, and who Sasha really is. Because he was pressed, Sasha finally said that he was an undercover FBI. Hearing that, of course, Nick felt disappointed, because he just found out that Sasha had been lying to him. But in the end, Sasha and the Old Man managed to calm Nick down. On the other hand, the helicopter that Johnson had previously requested to the FBI finally arrived at the prison. After putting one helicopter, the FBI messenger immediately rushed back to leave, but Johnson's group was reluctant to leave this place before getting the Old Man, given that the Old Man had not told where the gold bars were hidden. After that, Sasha contacted Johnson's group to make an exchange between the Old Man and Judge Jane. Johnson, of course, immediately agreed to the request, because what he needed was the Old Man. Sasha also asked where Frank and the Chief Warden were. Johnson replied that Frank had died from his heart disease while inhaling a smoke grenade. Meanwhile, the Chief Warden would remain his hostage. It turned out that the exchange was a direct request from Old Man himself. According to Old Man, Judge Jane was just being used by Frank. Before the exchange began, the prisoners were seen preparing their weapons. Meanwhile, Sasha and Nick went to the helicopter that was previously stuck on the roof of the prison. Here Sasha immediately contacted the FBI and told them what happened. Now Agent William asked Sasha to keep the exchange safe and not to allow a shootout. Agent William also said that she and her troops would soon go there. After that, Sasha told Nick about the reason he was targeting Nick's boss, Sonny. It turns out that Sonny is the one who killed Sasha's wife, and fortunately Sonny didn't know that Sasha was the husband of the person Sonny had killed. In the end, Nick understood, especially now that he hated Sonny, who made no movement to save Nick. On the other hand, Johnson's group is now heading to the exchange. Arriving at the exchange site, they took the old man and released Judge Jane. But at the same time, one of the inmates attacked Johnson's group. So there was another shootout there. This incident led to the 49er 6 being quartered by the chief warden. Meanwhile, Johnson and his remaining men managed to escape with Old Man and Judge Jane. When the chief warden was to shoot the 49er 6, the FBI suddenly appeared and told him not to shoot. But suddenly, on the other hand, Nicholas was badly injured due to the shootout. Sasha tries to strengthen Nick by saying that Nick will be fine. Here Sasha also reveals that Nick is his best friend after that. Long story short, Johnson was spotted being chased by Sasha and Agent William. While trying to negotiate with Johnson, Johnson took down Judge Jane. But at the same time, it suddenly turned out that Old Man had previously placed a bomb in his shirt, and he did this as a form of atonement and punishment to himself for his past sins. The end of the movie shows Sasha taking the gold bars that Old Man hid behind his garden. It turns out that the Old Man had told Sasha about where the gold was hidden. As Old Man's request, Sasha will donate some of the gold to charity, because the rightful owner of the gold is a corrupt official who has died. After that, Sasha went to Nick in prison. Here Sasha said that Nick would be released, and the two of them planned to work together to hunt down Sonny. Sasha also explained that he had kept some of the gold for Nick, and the movie ended.